10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome everybody to a very special episode of Stadium Connect North. I'm John, aka Four Scars Gaming, and I'm joined here by my co-host NinjaGuy X. How you doing?
Pretty good, thank you.
Good. We've also got Fletch and
Hello.
and MM2K. How are you? How's everybody doing today on this fine Monday afternoon / early evening?
Awesome. Oh, good. Yeah. Excited.
Crickets,
yeah. So we've got two very special guests here today. We're going to get right into it here, all the way over from the Netherlands, from KeokeN Interactive. They are going to be bringing us, the Stadia community, Deliver Us the Moon. So without any further ado, we'll go ahead and bring them on in. Here we go. Hello. How are you?
Hey.
Hey, guys.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us today, and not also just talking to us, but the Stadia community as a whole. Again, we're going to be very mindful of your time here. We know that you're very busy and appreciate you taking that time out to speak with us. So if we could start off here, maybe just first introduce yourselves here, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'll start. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys. I mean, that was a very cool intro. I didn't know what to expect, but that was, even like counting down. It felt like already launching a rocket, guys. So that's
a good start. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Perfect theme for today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
exactly.
I felt lifting off, so I'm ready. No, I'm Koen Deetman. I'm the CEO and game director, and also as well the founder of the company. And in front of me is.
I'm Berlin Woudstra. I'm the game designer at KeokeN. I've been here now since 2017, so a while now. And I've got Koen most of my time.
Yeah. Yeah. We I think usually there's also Paul, the other founder of the company, talking a lot, but this time I think it's very cool to have more developer side that is talking to you guys.
Very nice. Yeah, it makes it more private. We're just two-person. We get to know some specific people from the team, which is kind of nice. One of the questions we were wondering is, how did KeokeN came to be? How did the company start from everything?
Yeah, so this is definitely one for me.
Yeah.
You have to put your microphone a little bit. You have to almost eat the microphone.
Yeah, it was like it's so uncomfortably close.
It's it. So I'll be talking like that from now on.
Starting a company was, we Paul and me are, first of all, we're brothers. So it's literally a family company. And
That's
it was back in I think it's over now 8 years ago, 9 years. We were literally on our kitchen table for like the house of my dad. We stole our sister's whiteboard and we started to like draft up ideas to make games. And my background is more in the game area. I did some game design studies, and Paul's background's more into film and trailer music production. And we literally sat down and said like, what companies are like the game companies that we look up to. And I have to say, we have in the Netherlands, we have Guerrilla Games who did their own IPs. And we were like, well, why not try also create a AAA developer from the ground up? So that's what we literally set out for with KeokeN. And let's say that road was a tough, hard road, but we're trying to get there.
So it's still an ongoing adventure for you guys. Looks like you'll
Absolutely.
keep building up some more, and that's very cool. So now that piques my curiosity. So your name is geez, I'm having Cohen, and the name of the company is KeokeN. So we're wondering, like, how did the name come up?
Well, yeah, that has a lot to do with me as well, because I have to say that before like going on to this adventure of developing, I did a lot of esports also together with my brother, and we did it in the Counter-Strike era. So there were big prize pots or something. We just won $100 with the entire team. So that was more or less the bigger prize amounts. But internationally, we had like this clan called Vidok back then. And Vidok is, I was the leader of the clan, and my name was KeokeN back in the day. So as it started as a sole proprietorship, I of course went with one of the closest things, and that was my name back then. Because we became the Capture the Flag 5-on-5 #1 in 4 years. So I thought, hey, if the name actually got me luck a first time, maybe we should move on it and get it, I don't know, second time as a game company. So that's where literally the name derives from.
That's very smart in a way too, because like if people search that team that you had, well, now they're going to be directed to that development team, so they might be interested in the games that you guys are developing.
Yeah.
Now, in the background, I see a very nice looking penguin, and we were wondering, like, is there any significance to your mascot or your logo of the company? And so are you going to tell me that this is part of your esport team also? Or
No, but it does belong to me.
Of course.
If you have to think about a logo or like a mascot, it's really hard to figure something out, and especially when coming up with a name. I once read an article about like just start with like that's something that's very close to yourself and what you like to mean by it. And the penguin is something that's like a little stuffed animal I have with me since I was, I think, 3 years old. And ever since I had that little guy, he always somehow radiated a positive vibe. He stands really for an optimistic vibe. The penguin really never radiates anything negative. So that's why I thought, like, hey, if I can bring over that idea of a positive penguin, as a maybe something to go for in the company, like a culture that we always try to be optimistic even in the worst times. And we've had some hard times during this development, but the penguin kind of always smiles and he tries to look up. That's what it is.
And it
Nice.
is trained in our company culture, right? Because there is this positive vibe in the office. It's a really special positive vibe that I think belongs to KeokeN.
Yeah, I agree. It's even in the worst times, we just still try to get that in the culture, and it's still there. Yeah.
Nice. It's cool that you associate your logo with the vibe that your company has. So it's good that I mean, like you have it on the wall. It's good to have it everywhere, I guess, to just show the positive vibe, which I like. So you've mentioned that your ultimate goal is to become a AAA company, basically. And I have the list of the beautiful team that you have, and it's very a big handful. I didn't expect so many people. So in general, how many people are in your team at the moment?
How many are we now?
Right now, we are like 30.
Yeah, but that,
Yeah, but
Wow.
that didn't work. Those didn't work on Deliver Us the Moon. So in the time of
Okay.
Deliver Us the Moon, we were like 10, 15
Oh
at the
my
time.
gosh.
Usually. So it's really the list of credits is of course longer, but that's because people kind of one leaves and then the other comes in place for them. So yeah, it wasn't that many people at one time.
no, yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So I swear I'm not the only one asking question here, but my time is up. I have all my questions done, so I leave it to John for the next
Okay.
questions. Yeah.
Oh, alrighty. So now that we've learned a little bit about you here, let's talk about Deliver Us the Moon. For those that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about the game? Like, how did the idea come about? What's the premise of the story? What's gameplay like? Just like the 411 on it for those that know absolutely nothing about the game and are looking forward to it coming to Stadia next month.
Yeah, so the idea actually came from Koen's brother Paul, who's also the founder of KeokeN. And they were kind of still at the kitchen table. They were gonna come up with ideas, and one of the ideas that he pitched was the Moon Man game, where there was this astronaut going into space all alone and go to the moon, and that kind of grew out to be the game for Deliver Us the Moon.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, or like to add that Moon Man, as much as it used inspirations from like films from Duncan Jones' Moon or Interstellar or 2001: Space Odyssey, because we're also big movie fans, and to some extent, I sometimes think we it seems like we're trying to direct a movie sometimes in games or in Deliver Us the Moon. It clearly is a cinematic experience at times.
Mhm.
I would like to say, and then again, of course, a narrative adventure that you're taking, combined with some puzzling, I would say, and you're really kind of figuring out what's going on to your path. So there's also always a constant mystery kind of in front of you that you want to unravel. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. So there's a little bit. So gameplay wise, there's like the third person view, and also there's going to be some puzzles and whatnot that you're going to have to solve in order to advance. Is that correct?
Yeah, for the gameplay, we actually use a mixed perspective. So you have both first and third person sections. And the first person is really to get that immersive feel in 0G mainly. And then the gameplay overall is really a mix of a lot of stuff. So you have puzzles, which is a main thing, but also platforming and a lot of narrative that comes into along. But really figuring out that mystery for yourself instead of being handed to you on a plate. So definitely go scour the environment and see what you can find, because there are a lot of things hidden in there that are there to find. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
On average, what would you say, like, if not to see and to do everything, but what could people maybe expect gameplay wise, like hours? Like, how many hours could they spend in order to complete the game?
So, funny enough, what we see in our target audience and demographic is that apparently we've made a game that the old adventure gamer is really loving. So, what you see is that there's like, people that are maybe 30 plus, but also I think one of the oldest is actually 80 plus that played this game. Uh,
Oh, wow.
the 50 plus year old gamer is funny enough taking their note block literally next to this and starting to write stuff up. So as much as we
yeah.
try to get a lot of things recorded in the game as well, so you don't need that notebook like at some point, but it still gives that feeling or something that the old adventure gamer kind of gets from our game. And if you would time this, I would say, it's a story that you can manage to finish. I mean, that's let's say that nowadays it's really tough to finish certain games. And I think if you're very time constrained, for example, I have kids right now. I have two young children that once I start to boot up some of these consoles, I'm first an hour I'm updating the whole thing, then there's another hour updating your game, and then you can finally play. But at some point, the kid is waking up already, and then it just
And then your kid
stops.
wants the controller, and then you can't play anymore at all.
That's
exactly.
So and with our game, I mean, if you start Red Dead Redemption, I mean, I could barely get off my horse, and I would already have to quit the game. So it's very manageable. And I would say, if you take a good, like if you critical path, don't really take care of the environment, you would maybe take around 5 hours. But if you would take enough time to scour everything around you, probably maybe 7, 8. It depends. It really depends on how long you would take.
It depends on how long you want to put into it too. I've seen people put in 12 to 14 hours to
Wow.
looking through the environments. But I think for the main game, if you just want to play through it, then 5 to 6 hours is probably the most accurate.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's good to hear. And I know that there's a lot of people in the community that are like achievement hunters. Are there achievements in the game and for people to strive for?
Yeah, there are definitely achievements in the game, and probably some of them are really hard to get.
Oh. There we go. So we've got someone on the panel here, Fletch. He's an achievement hunter. He loves to get the achievement in 100% game. So there you go, Fletch. You can look forward to getting 100% here on Deliver Us.
Oh, very much. Very much. I
month.
think the Stadia Hunters community will love that.
Yeah, we'll mention it to them. Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome. So I don't know if you could maybe share with us. A lot of people in the community like to know like specifics about the game as far as like what the target resolution and frame rate is. Do you know what that's running at on Stadia?
Honestly, we have to, and I'm sorry, but I have to disappoint on the deeper technical side. We cannot really reveal anything yet. So
Okay.
yeah, but it's I've seen it play around on Stadia, and I have to say I'm quite impressed with how it's already doing. So I can keep it at that.
Okay, great. And I know when the game was initially announced, it said that it was coming out next month in April. But keen listeners here on the Stadia community listening to the Wired Productions podcast heard, I believe it was Fletch, was it last week that there was announced? April 22nd being the launch date on Stadia.
Yeah, that's what I heard in the Wired podcast. And also I listened to the Wired podcast where you guys were on with them as well the other day. So
I don't actually know. So
okay.
There's a couple of things
They're taking care of that. Yeah.
careful of, but honestly, if you've heard that, then I have yet to check about that. But
Okay.
there's also a couple of other interesting things that Wired can share very soon. So
Okay.
it's gonna be
Interesting. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. We won't try and get any juicy secrets from you here, but more to come. We can look forward from Wired about Deliver Us the Moon. So further announcements on that as well. That's awesome. Awesome. And I guess one last question for me on this particular section here. Have you, for the Stadia version, have you implemented any Stadia specific features such as state share? Or is it just like, very like same as the other ports on the other platforms?
For now, I can't really say what type of features are in there, but
Okay.
I did
No,
so.
that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're also figuring out the question about the last Stadia connector. I saw that there's a couple of interesting developments going on, how
Mhm.
porting, for example, should work in the future. But that is, of course, very new tech. So currently, we've really just ported the Stadia version as it gone before.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Because that's actually Fletch here was going to be moving into some questions about that. So Fletch, I'll let you go ahead over here and ask away.
No problem. Yeah, so obviously we know we had the Google for Games Developer Summit last week, and they did mention low change porting being one of those options for developers moving forward for bringing games to Stadia. Have you guys had any trial or experience with that as of yet?
No, it was absolutely nice to hear that, and then I also said like that would have been great, but we went the harder road. Yeah.
So with the overall porting of Stadia, how was it relatively easy for you guys to bring it over at the moment, or what was your head getting around sort of the Vulkan sort of side of it?
Yeah, wouldn't. Yeah, I would be lying if it didn't give us headaches at points. But it's not as crazy as, for example, native console versions. But it's absolutely easier, but it's not easiest. I would like to say, maybe like
Yeah.
that.
As with everything in development,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work like
It's
1500
new. Yeah.
before it does. So
It's just that push of a button, right, and then it rolls out.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Hit convert, and then you just select the platform, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Ideal. Yeah, so I think that's sort of my questions. I wanted to ask more around that sort of developer summit anyway. There's a lot of interesting things about that. So I'll pass MM2K. I know he has a few questions as well to ask you guys.
All right, great. Hey guys, I want to thank you all so much for coming here. I mean, the Stadia community really appreciates it, and we thank you so much for slicing out a piece of your time here. This game looks great. I can't wait to play it myself. So I just to close out with a few questions, what are your thoughts on cloud gaming and specifically Stadia?
So funny enough is my example just now of having the kids.
yeah, you are a
is-
Stadia.
I am actually having Stadia from the get-go. I have a founder's edition myself.
Oh, wow.
and-
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
All right.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was mainly because I saw this come up, and I thought like, okay, so if it works, if it really is that just jump in and go, then I actually might find benefit from this. So I got it, and I have to say I use it quite often. So and I have to say the cloud gaming thing, honestly, Stadia is doing that at the best for now, because I really can jump in, aside from, you have to accept those terms usually, and that's only blocking you from an even smoother entrance into a game. But for me, it opened up a lot of discovery of games I wouldn't even find otherwise, aside from Game Pass, for example. That's very good for discovery, but that's one thing. And also, if you really are about that like super native, like running great every second and every frame counts, of course you can just jump in another version somewhere. But to me, I've and to be specific, Little Nightmares, don't get me wrong, guys, but my little daughter loves that game. It's pretty strange, but she loves the game, and I've played it almost on every platform right now.
Wow.
But usually, we also play it a lot on Stadia because she can just jump in and she can play around. And now it's great. Great for discovery, great for... sometimes I even forget about that there is maybe a bit of latency, but it's... very unnoticeable almost, and with other cloud platforms, I think it's tougher. I mean, Stadia is getting that very nicely right now.
Awesome. Are you guys currently working on anything now that you can tell us about?
We are working on something, but
Oh,
Yeah,
all right.
what?
I have to say, yeah. What can we say about it? But besides the fact that I'm extremely excited.
I want to talk about it, but
Oh,
Oh boy.
Well,
I mean,
could you mention? Is it possible what you're working on will be coming to Stadia? Is it a possibility?
I won't deny.
I more confirm this.
Yes,
Smart man.
Okay.
Smart man.
Okay. Okay.
Good enough.
it's
All
absolutely
right. Great stuff.
amazing.
That is-
I have to say. No, we've been privileged to that we can even bring it to Stadia, for example, with Deliver Us the Moon. But the fact that we can work on the stuff we do every day is amazing, and I hope you guys will. First of all, see that from Deliver Us the Moon, because it was a labor of love of the entire team, with ups and downs. And I have to say, we seriously continue that trend.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Am I putting it right? Yeah,
No, that's
it's-
great stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. My final question is there anything else you would like to say or let people know who are watching or listening to the show, just in general?
Well, I think first of all, just go play Deliver Us the Moon, try it out, see what you think of it, and I hope that you'll love it as much as we like making it.
Yeah.
And that our passion that we had for this game really shines through and makes you fall in love with it as well.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And definitely, if you really are about narrative, single players, and a good story, I would say don't scour the internet too much, because there's a lot of things available already on the game. But it's absolutely worth going through it yourself. I would say the difficulty is not that steep. You know, it's
That's good.
easy for a lot of people to get into, and engage into a nice immersive story that, from start to finish will drive you forward, I would like to say.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That is awesome.
Great stuff. Hey, look, again, thank you guys so much for taking our panel questions. It's so refreshing to hear that, developers to be founders of the platform, to have familiarity with it, and to have that degree of optimism towards it. So we can't wait till this comes to the platform. You just don't understand. So thank you all so much. And I'm going to turn it back to John to get to any panel or the chat questions that we have time for.
Okay.
Nice.
Actually, we're going to redirect that from me over to Ninja here. I see Ninja's got a
cool.
question from the chat highlighted here. Ninja, I'll let you go.
Oh, sure. Okay. So I'll take that one. Sure. So they're asking you guys, do you prefer to play Deliver Us to the Moon with a controller or mouse and keyboard?
That's a good one.
We actually do both
Yeah.
in the studio. So I personally prefer to play with my mouse and keyboard, but the level designer sitting next to me for a while, they always play with controller. So you can do both.
It's actually 50-50 around the studio, I think.
Yeah, I
It's,
think it
Oh,
is.
wow.
it depends a little bit on what type of gamer you are. So once you see a lot of console gamers, they usually pick up the controller. I am, of course, very PC gamer from origin, but I'm also getting old, guys. So it's really strange. Apparently, when I hit a controller, I start to not understand things. Now I'm also a console gamer, but to me, it's like, I think whatever suits me at the time. So once it's Stadia, I'm of course all controller and doing fine with it. I'm both. Yeah, I'm both.
That's awesome. It's awesome to hear. So it looks like we have another question here from Paul. You said you were big esports fans and players. So my question is, are you considering making an esports type title?
So,
Good question.
that's a very nice one. Well, running an esports team, because that's what I literally did back when you didn't earn millions of it, by the way. But it does, and that is definitely not the key driver. But I would like to once run an esports team again, or maybe as a fun thing, and a game. I definitely know a lot about what drives esports. So yeah, you never know what comes up in our crazy minds.
That's
Neither
awesome.
deny nor confirm this.
Exactly.
again.
Of course. Tomorrow they'll be announcing, "Hey, new esport game."
It's
So
absolutely on the wish list.
yeah.
On the
So
wait list.
we did a poll on the chat, and we asked the people, "Will you be picking up Deliver Us to the Moon on Stadia?" And we've got 33 vote out of it. And let's just end the poll right now, if you're okay with that, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and
Okay.
end the poll.
Yeah, there you go. So from the results, let me check here. It looks like we have 81% of our in our chat that is going to be buying Deliver Us to the Moon on Stadia, which is a fairly good amount if you ask me.
Wow.
Nice. That's a lot.
I think that 19% maybe hit the wrong key.
Yeah, exactly. Or they already have the game, like yeah.
Nice.
I thought of a question maybe that we could ask here. It's a little bit maybe the development side over a Stadia, as far as if you like while you were bringing Deliver Us to the Moon over to Stadia, if any of the problems that you may have encountered, how did you find like getting technical support from the people at Stadia? Was that easy and something that you could, if you had a question, you had someone that you could contact and get an answer relatively quickly? Or how did you find that process working with the support team at Stadia?
Well, I would say it's usually a marriage between engine and, of course, platform. So, and then developer. So most of the time you're talking to three or two. It's usually a talk between two or three people. But yeah, I think as much as you can get help here and there, they all try whatever they can to make sure that you're helped and supported.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds good. So again, you being a founder for when Stadia was launched back in 2019, did you have any thoughts or ambitions about Deliver Us to the Moon, like bringing your game over to Stadia, or is this something like that's relatively like within the last year or so that the process has started to begin to bring the game over?
Well, as like a founder of the company, and of course in the first Stadia, I would like to say I would love to make it run on a Game Boy Color, but I really want to play that game. But in the beginning, I would say I didn't. Of course, Stadia still needed to at the beginning of Deliver Us to the Moon, and this goes back to 2014, I think, or 15. But of course, you want to put it out on as much platforms as possible. But once I got to experience Stadia myself, I felt like, the discovery type of like a couple of those games out there that are sometimes are from smaller indie studios or maybe games that you didn't necessarily saw around, gave me a good idea of like that this might be good for Deliver Us to the Moon too. So yeah, I think earlier, not just in the last year, but if we ever got the chance to get it there, yeah, and you put all your research and you have to really think about the platform is important. And we're not that big, as much as 30 people is not a small studio, but it's also not the big. So yeah, I thought of it early. Yeah.
Okay. And I guess this is kind of follow-up question here in the chat there. Saying how long ago, I don't if you're allowed to share, how long ago did you start on the process of bringing Deliver Us to the Moon over to Stadia?
I can definitely say that it already started last year. Yeah.
Oh, last year.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
that's good.
It's very good.
That is good to see.
So we know that Wired Production is your publisher, and we're wondering like how did that relationship start? How did you guys meet, and how is it like? Do you guys enjoy working with Wired Production? How is it in general?
Which version do you want, the longer or the short?
How long do we have? Yeah, still.
Yeah.
I got a middle version. That's we were we had actually a rocky road to deliver us the moon, and we had a publisher back in the day who had a big ambition to do a lot of things called Starbreeze. Sadly, we had to split ways because Starbreeze went into a lot of issues themselves, and that made us actually without a publisher in the year that was 2018, I believe. And yeah, we were on our own again, and we had to find ways to get the game out. So releasing the game with a cliffhanger at games around Gamescom 2018, we realized that it wasn't really like getting the potential out. So a year later, we went to GDC in 2019. We tried to get the game sold with a lot of publishers. So we talked to around 50 plus, I think, publishers around, and literally going from like, you know, and we didn't even have any a lot of money. And I mean, these trips are very expensive. So Paul and me slept on like a room, and you have to say, like in San Francisco, that's called Tenderloin. Don't go there ever. It's really tough and really rough.
Oh my gosh.
There was a lock on the door, and that it was only cockroaches running around on my bed.
Oh my gosh!
You know,
oh
that's
my gosh!
around the place we were. So after doing that, going back to PAX East and even going to Los Angeles, we've at the last day, and this is just my brother and me, like being on PAX, running an entire booth, and this was also the first year that they put like 3 to 4 days, so it was extra long. And at that last day, there was like I had like a conversation with a porting company that helped us out, figuring also some network, and they said like, hey, you should talk to Wire Productions. So we messaged them and said like, hey, you're here, and they said like, yeah, what's up? So we said like, hey, let's come by the booth, and say, oh, cool, you're in the mega booth. They went by and they said like, okay, so this game looks interesting, but most of the publishers said like, you guys, you're already out, old news, what's new? And we were like, oh shit, so it's already old. So they said, yeah, it's going to take us a month to judge if we're going to do something with this. So Paul and me were like, oh shit, so nah, that's might take a while. But then again, they came back to us and they were fast tracking it, and they decided upon, let's in a week, like what they would like to do with this. So within a month, I think we already went to London, where they're headquartered in Watford. And the moment we stepped into that office, it was clear to me that these guys, you know, they have so much stuff of their games they're doing, and it's up to an absurd level of like love for their products. I mean, their collector's edition are amazing. It was clear that these guys were gonna push the game forward in the right way. So that's how we met, and that's how we signed.
That's
It's
awesome,
nice.
yeah.
Can you imagine how long the long version is of that?
he named every cockroach, you know, and
You're right.
Lord.
I kind of got a follow up to that, somewhat of a follow up to that.
Sure.
So, if you're not aware, we have a very vigorous group of Stadians, quote unquote, in the community, and they go to developers like yourselves and they say, hey, are you bringing this game to Stadia? You're bringing that game to Stadia. And there's independent developers, even single developers that are making some cool looking stuff out there. So my question to you, is someone who is a profound enthusiast, as you let us know earlier, you're a Stadia founder like some of us. What would be your answer to somebody if they came to you and said, hey, should I really? I'm independent. I'm new. Should I release my game on Stadia or not? What would you say to them would be the benefits and the perks based upon your experience?
Discovery. So if you like,
Awesome. Yep.
Awesome.
that is just very important as an independent developer, to be discovered. And if you get that chance, as much as maybe in the beginning phase, you know, some of these opportunities might not be the most fruitful. But I can tell you that once you are being discovered and once people play your game, that's a different story.
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
That is great to see. Wow. Okay. Let's see if we could take maybe a few more questions from the chat here before we go.
Mhm.
Let's see here. Okay, I guess there's a question here. Maybe you can answer. Cloud Validation says, on the publisher side, so as far as like Wired Productions, what would they take care of as far as Deliver Us the Moon? Like that's different from what you do.
You wanna answer it?
Yeah, sure. So the main division, I think, is that we as a company are really responsible for the creative product of it and making the game, thinking of what is gonna go in there and actually doing it. And Wired is really looking for opportunities for us. So they are the ones who came up with Stadia as a
Okay.
potential thing to do, and then they do the marketing side of things and make sure that the game is discovered and that people can actually, play it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to add that they really function as they try to take in account all the opportunities on where you could put the game. For example, one of the biggest dreams we've had was put it in a box. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you know, as much as it is like useless almost now, like everything is digital, and I mean now you don't even own it. Like so, to some extent, it's like somewhere in the cloud. So,
Yep.
but yeah, I mean even to the physical extent, but also to the cloud extent, it's they really try to put their developer up front and make sure that they get the potential out of the product.
That's good. Awesome. Great to hear. I don't know if we have any other questions in the chat there, or if anybody from the panel.
Yeah,
that
I
we're
have
gonna
one.
get- Okay. Yeah.
As someone who uses Stadia yourself, do you have a favorite game that you currently play or have played on Stadia?
Yeah, if I have to see times, I definitely am the most biggest Little Nightmares 1 and 2 player. I even bought all the additions to it because my daughter just keeps harassing me about it. I am definitely the biggest player there for sure. If they clock my time, they're saying, "What's that guy doing? This game? Did he play it over 1,000,000 times?" Yeah, I did.
Wow.
So I have to
I'd
say
love to
Little
see that
Nightmares.
time. Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome.
Okay. Yeah. I guess that looks like it's gonna wrap it up here for us. Again, thank you so much. We really do appreciate you taking both of you taking the time out of your busy day and schedule here to talk to us and the Stadia community, sharing your thoughts, learning more about Deliver Us the Moon, and we will definitely keep our eyes peeled for more news on the game in the near future from Wired Productions here. Maybe we can bug Steve over on the Discord and see if he could
You can always
as well. But yeah, we can always try, right? Yeah. So I think that is it. Oh, actually, there might be one question here from Paul right before we go. And let's see here. Would you ever consider making a cloud-only game? I know it's kind of a
I would-
curveball there.
It depends how much opportunity that it gives me as a studio to move forward with all those people. So I have the responsibility of all those people working for us. So
Mhm.
if it would make sense, yeah, I mean then there's a lot of ways. But I would like to say that nowadays you see that the more platforms you can try to put your game out for smaller studios, that's usually the route to take. But yeah, that's what it is, I think.
Okay, great. All right. Well, as I said, we are looking forward to more news, not only about Deliver Us from the Moon, but also your next upcoming project here. You neither confirmed or denied that it would come to Stadia, but the main important thing is that it wasn't a no, so there's that
Wasn't a no.
possibility. Yep, it wasn't a no, so we've got a little possibility here. It's so awesome. Again, thank you again so much. And everybody in the chat here and those who are listening, we really do appreciate it. And yeah, from there, we'll go ahead and we'll see everybody later. Take care, everyone. Thanks so much.
Thanks for
Thanks
the
for
time,
having us.
guys.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye bye.